Now it's time to introduce our main speaker for tonight, Shadoe S.
My name is Shadoe. I am an addict alcoholic. I'd like to thank our esteemed leader, Joey, for getting me here. And I'd like to start with a couple of apologies. This talk was pre-recorded for broadcast at this time. And those of you who have heard my story before, I apologize. Secondly, I know this is an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, but I only have one story. Drugs led me to alcohol. Can I hear a, oh no, not drugs? Oh, no, not drugs. Thank you. And for that, I apologize. I'd like to start with a parable. Mother Teresa dies and goes to heaven. And the pearly gates are really pearly, and they open up gently beneath loving clouds. And she walks into God's office. And God is sitting behind a great desk. And he jumps up, goes, Mother Teresa, we've been waiting for you. And he picks up a jeweled box from his desk. And he walks around the desk and takes it up to her. And he holds it and he lifts the lid and light shines from in. It bathes Mother Teresa's face in light. And he reaches into the box and pulls out the biggest halo you have ever seen. And he places it on her head. She's thrilled. Instantly, a door opens on the right. She steps through the door into a giant auditorium filled with beautiful people. Frank Sinatra is singing. The Andrews sisters from the 40s. And everyone has a beautiful halo, but Mother Teresa's is the biggest. And she's starting to feel pretty good about it. All of a sudden, across the room, she sees Princess Di with the biggest halo anyone has ever seen in their life. She kicks down the door to God's office and goes, what the 40 years in Calcutta dealing with lepers, and this bitch has the biggest halo in the room? God says, well, that's not a halo, that's a steering wheel. True story. So the moral of the story is that if you're looking for rewards for your good deeds, you may be in for a surprise. I grew up in Jamestown, North Dakota. And the oldest of 5 kids. My parents didn't drink, smoke, use drugs, curse, or fight in front of the kids. No one in my family is like me. My parents owned clothing stores and toy stores and go-kart tracks and fireworks stands on the 4th of July and lake homes with speedboats and water skiing. We had a great life. It was Norman Rockwell. In my senior year, we decided to celebrate the end of football season with a little drink. I never had a drink. I never even smelled a drink. So I had a half pint of orange vodka. It went down warm, and I projectile vomited for 4 hours. I threw up parts of my stomach I didn't know that I had. I went, why do you like this? What is, it's like my dad said, you get loud and stupid. What is it? I'm not going to ever drink in my life. Well, I went off to college, and I joined a fraternity. And in the fraternity, they had big parties, shipwreck and breakdown, and keg parties, you know. And so I drank to fit in. And it was okay, but I never really wanted to drink. I just did it because I wanted to fit in. In my 5th year of college, I was at the University of Arizona. I went to the University of North Dakota. Then I went to the University of Arizona. So in my 5th year of college, I was working at a radio station, and the guy says, you know, you got to try some herb. I mean, it's a plant. It's not like it leads to heroin. You'd be great. It'd be funny. You'll laugh. So, they had an apartment with a $5,000 sound system and blacklight posters. They had a hookah that was 4 feet tall in the middle of the room with tubes that went off to the sides. They said, just inhale on the tube. Blip, 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 blip. Blip, blip, blip. All of a sudden, the music got louder, and it was moving in the left and on the right and in the ceiling, and the ceiling expanded, and I was moving with the music in the ceiling, and it was in colors, and it had clumps of sound that I could see in the music, and I was moving with it in the ceiling, and I went, I understand what you've been trying to tell me for so long. It's like trying to explain the color blue to a blind man. It's like trying to explain the ocean to somebody who's never seen water. It's experiential. I am so thirsty. So that night I bought my first ounce. Within a month, I bought my first pound. We got together and we shared our vibrations. We laughed for no reason at things that weren't funny. We listened to lots of music, and I moved to Boston. Now, we're smoking every day because it became part of the scene. We were groovy. Guy says, you want to try some acid? Well, what's acid? It's like grass, except it's more intense and lasts longer. Cool. No, my first LSD experience. I am double parked on Beacon Hill, Cobblestone Street, lots of traffic. I'm in the driver's seat, we've already dropped. My friends get out to get donuts. It comes on. I don't know who I am. My hands. My friends are skipping down the street in slow motion. Laughing. Get in the car! Get in the goddamn car! What is this shit? What have you done? Now, you would think that a really terrifying experience would make any sane person go, I am never doing that again. Are you out of your mind? I moved to California. Now, we smoked every day, and we did psychedelics every weekend because it was recreational, and we were seeking spiritual insight. My life is like a Marvel comic. This is really true. I mean, from the way I got my name, it's like Marvel comic. So a one-armed man who worked with me says, you know, you should see my doctor, Dr. Lax. Dr. Lax on La Cienega Boulevard weighed 350 pounds, and he wrote his prescriptions on his stomach. Well, Dr. Lax, since I've been seeing you, things have been going really well, you know, and he says, well, you had Dexedrine last month. How about Black Beauties? That'd be good. Things have been going really well. I mean, sometimes I have to work through the night. Sometimes I have to work for a couple of days in a row, and I just have a lot of writing to do. Sometimes I have to be in the studio around the clock, and I have a lot of people I'm responsible for. I had a little trouble sleeping. He goes, well, you had Quaaludes last month. How about Tuinol? Good. Dr. Lax, do you sell Amyl? Oh, yeah. How many do you want? 5 years go by. I saw him every month for 5 years. Then I had the audacity to have an anxiety attack in my studio on Sunset. I had a recording studio. From a brilliantly subtle combination of a wide variety of intoxicants. Now, when you're having a bad acid trip, you know that it's acid, you know, and you're gonna probably get through it and you're gonna be fine. When you have a panic attack, it's, I've gone insane, I'm gonna be in a mental hospital, or I'm gonna die. Those are the only two options. So I'm terrified. My friends take me to see Dr. Lax, who is horrified that I would come in to see him at a time like this. He leaves me waiting in the lobby for 4 hours, writhing, and then he cut me off. So I did what any good drug addict would do. I turned to the streets. Crystal meth seemed like a good idea. It was cheap, lasted a long time. So I'm not going to get a lot done, because I'm just using it for the work. I got a lot of work to do, and so a lot of time. Now, I had this epiphany on a psychedelic experience where I left the body, and I thought, there's something here besides just a body. I've got to find my way back without drugs. So I started studying, comparative religion. What are they teaching in religion? Quantum physics. I'm talking about meditation and the occult and out-of-body experiences. And I learned the fundamentals of meditation. And over a period of time, although I was, smoking, I'm 30 joints a day. I'm like, you got to roll 16 to leave the house. So I decided to quit everything. I would just quit everything and meditate. And I did. I didn't know about programs. I didn't know about people helping each other. For a year, I got better. And then a guy came into my studio one day, and he laid down an ounce of Peruvian flake. It glistened, it sparkled, and called my name. I said, I don't do that anymore, but thanks. He says, well, go have as little or as much as you want. It's just for the work. Well, no. I'm not going to do that anymore, but thanks. But you go ahead. But it was a long night. And my eyes kept like looking down. And I thought, what would one little needle line hurt? Clearly, I can pick it up or put it down and stop anytime I want. So I carved one out. Then I did two because you have two nostrils. Did two more to balance the hemispheres of my brain. 4 more because now, having attained a higher state of awareness and going at a great speed, I'm really getting a lot done. We're having a lot of talks. We're having a lot of really good talks, and we're solving a lot of the world's problems all at the same time. So we worked through the night. Really turned out a lot of really important commercials. And then I bought an ounce for myself. And then I built it into my budgets. Because we shared our vibrations. I was just looking to be enthused and inspired all the time. That's not a lot to ask. So it was me and the crew. And then I started thinking, they should really get their own. What am I, Dad? So I started holding more back. And then I went home one night. Now, from sunset, I lived in Malibu and in the trees. It's very quiet, pretty. Went to my house and went to the bathroom for a couple of hours. When I came out of the bathroom, I went to the bedroom and I heard something outside the window. It sounded just like this. I put sheets over the windows and the doors. Then I realized you can see silhouettes through sheets. So I put quilts over the sheets. Then I realized you can see around the cracks around quilts. So I put nails at 1-inch intervals. Now, I sat in my bedroom, naked to the waist. I had gained 50 pounds. I didn't stop doing anything with lots of drugs. I ate. And I drank. Now I'm drinking a quart of Canadian Club a day. I also got into guns because, you can never be too careful. I had a 12-gauge short barrel shotgun, double-aught buck. You don't have to aim, you just point and pull. I had a Beretta, I had a .45, and I had a mercenary gun that fits inside your wallet for all those times when people say, "Give me your wallet." I'm bad. No, the truth is I was terrified all the time. I'm terrified all the fucking time. I'm terrified. We talk about a little paranoia. Like you have a little thing in the middle of your back that you need to put salve on. I got a little paranoia back there. Grew up, I don't know. Not this all-consuming terror that you think you're being followed, you don't know what's real. And people fed into it. People, the company I was working for, the guards knew that I was slightly askew. And they said, there's a motorcycle gang that's got a hit out on you. So I hired them to be at my house armed at night. Then I'd go into the bathroom for a couple of hours. But this night, I'm sitting there behind the quilts and the windows and the doors with my 12 gauge, and I think, either I've gone insane or there's someone out there. I need to confront my destiny. So I stalked outside the house and I sat down behind the window and I waited. After 10 minutes, I knew I'd probably gone insane. But at that very moment, keeping in true Marvel comic tradition, I heard a rustle in the bush. I jumped up screaming, "Now you die!" And I rushed through the brush with my 12 gauge. They got away. So, I went back to the bathroom to celebrate. I had another drink, I smoked a little more cocaine, and my head rocked back on the floor. This is an attractive sight. 50 pounds overweight, a steaming, bloated, toxin-filled, tongue out, eyes rolled back, head hitting on the floor like this over and over. And when I came to, I thought, well, that was a good hit. I need to take a breather. Saw my real doctor at that time, and he said, if you're lucky, you're going to die. He said, you're going to have a heart attack or a stroke any minute because you're overweight, you got high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you're full of toxins. I don't even know what kind of toxins. You're using everything. And I said, I know, but I was praying every day. God help me, I don't know how to stop. I just prayed every day. God help me, I don't know how to stop. I really did want to stop. I couldn't stand, I was terrified. I'm afraid all the time. And I couldn't stop, and I didn't. And months went on, and many more convulsions. And why I'm not dead like Heath Ledger, I will never know. But I had an overdose in my studio, and my friends found me that night and called my sister, who called my parents. And my mother said, why don't you see a counselor? Well, I know I've got a lot of problems and things have been really getting out of hand, but I've really had a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things that I have to do. And I was thinking if I just took a little time off and went to Hawaii and gave up everything and had a little rest and relaxation, and then maybe took up skydiving, and then I would jump out of a plane from 14,000 feet, and while I'm plunging toward the ground, the rush would be so incredibly intense that I would voluntarily want to give up drugs. My mother said, maybe you could go to Betty Ford? So I tried to get in Betty Ford, and there was no room in the inn. And they found a room for me in Scripps in La Jolla. And I drove over the mountain, I went to Scripps. Now I'm terrified, I'm humiliated. I was doing a lot of television at the time, and I just felt like I am so ashamed. I'm so weak and pathetic, and everybody's going to know, and I'm going into this mental hospital. So I go in and I talk to the counselor, and he said, well, it's not like a mental hospital. It's like you can leave anytime you want, but you might want to give it a try. Things aren't working real well the way you're going. Okay. So I walk into my room, and the first miracle of the program was I meet this guy. He's my roommate. And he's as wired as me. He was about to walk out like, this is clearly not for me, I'm out of here. And we meet, we start talking, and we keep talking. And he made me laugh. And I went, okay, I'll give it a day. And then after the first day, I went, I'll give it one more day. And we became great friends, and we did poetry on the walls, and we had artwork, and there was things going on that we weren't supposed to do. We were called the Hideous Twins. We had a lot of opinions for you mere alcoholics, because we were, as Craig Ferguson says, the elite of the mentally ill. We were drug addicts. And all they're talking about is alcohol. Well, what I didn't get was they weren't really talking about alcohol. They were talking about the program. But I didn't get that. And 2 weeks into the program, we were voted least likely to succeed. And our counselor came and talked to us, and he said, I got to talk to you. And he said, you know, you got a lot of rage, a lot of anger, a lot of resentment. You might want to think about listening. You know, the program is not real complicated, but it's your only hope. Nothing has ever worked for anyone, and this one doesn't work unless you want it. So you might want to think about understanding about how it works and why it works. And if I were you, I would get a sense of humor. It says, if you don't have a sense of humor about who you are, where you've been, what you've done, and where you're going, you're in for a rough ride, because life gets tough. And you got to be able to laugh. So it was a bell going off for me, and I got up the next morning and started meditating. And I haven't stopped for 26 and a half years. And my whole life began to change. I got out of a rehab terrified. I'm coming back up to LA. I know where all the dealers are. I know where all the liquor stores are. I don't want to go back to that fear. I don't want to go back to that. I'm just so out of control. What do? I have to go to these fucking meetings. So I came to meetings and I sat in the back. I didn't participate, but I showed up. I just showed up and listened. And little by little, I started hearing little things that sort of made sense to me. And I reluctantly got a sponsor, and he said, call me every day. And I called him every day, and my life started getting better. Everything started turning around, and I was getting to be happy for the first time. I'm driving down Sunset one day, and all of a sudden I snapped. I just went insane for seemingly no reason. It's just like all of a sudden, all of this is bullshit. Everything is bullshit, this whole program and being with these people and going to these goddamn meetings all the time. And it's like, you know, what is it, spiritual program that you're talking about anyway? How has it really gotten you? Where are you anyway in your life? You know, you really need a break. You just need a break. You just need to take a little break. And I was crying and was trying not to drive into cars, and I was trying to think, what do they tell me to do? What do they tell me to do? Do program, call someone. I don't know any to call. Go to a meeting. I don't know where any meetings are. Bing, the sponsor's number popped into my head just because I called him every day. I call him. Miraculously, he's home. I go over and I talk to him. He goes, yeah, I know. And when I was done, I didn't feel that way anymore. The weight was lifted, and I started going, oh, that's how that works. Somebody who thinks like me, who's wound as tight as me, understands. And he's not like that today, and I am, and if I talk to him, maybe it'll kind of neutralize things. There's something to this program. This is kind of interesting. So I'm going to do the steps. So now, what are the steps? There's like 3 ideas. Step 1, this is really deep, so listen very carefully. Things aren't going well when I make up my own mind about things, doing things my way. I'm slightly out of control. Point 2, maybe there is something that I can turn to. So this gets into this whole thing about God. Now, atheists are going to have you believe you have to look at the universe. That everything is in order. Everything from the birds flying south for the winter, to the seasons, to the rotation of the galaxies, no matter how small, no matter how big, everything is in order and perfect. It seems to have a purpose. Plus, you've got the mysterious love and laughter, pretty hard to address as an atheist. Where did that come from? So, and as an atheist, I have to believe in the theory of random hostility. I have to believe that it's all an accident, but there's a malevolent something that's going, you're going to be crippled, you're going to be blind. I'm going to give you a pass. So for me, I'm going to go, maybe there's something here. Then I discovered Sir Roger Penrose, a mathematician and physicist out of the UK, and he calculated the odds of an ordered universe coming out at random. And he said they are 1 in 10 to the 10th to the 30th. A number so huge that if you programmed a computer to generate 1,000,000 zeros a second, it would take 1,000,000 times longer than the age of the universe just to write it down. I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt, that maybe there's something, the almighty mover, I'll pick up my own name, because you can pick your religion right now, and as soon as you do, most of the world will think you're wrong. So I'm going to pick from here, from point, I've got this one over here, and I got a God with a sense of humor. Excellent. I'm moving. The next thing is step 4, which is I've got these mental blood clots. I've got this stuff that are secrets, that are imperfections, things that are sitting there like festering in my brain, just waiting. And the moment my emotions get weak, they're going to go, you suck. This isn't going to work out. This isn't going to work out. Let's make a list. This didn't work out, this didn't work out, this didn't work out, this didn't work out, this didn't work out. Let's go back to 1997. Remember 1997? So we've got these things, and this gives us a step to, you start writing it down. I've got these secrets, oh God, shit. And it starts coming out like mental diarrhea. It gushes onto the page, and you write, and you write, and you write, and you write, and then all of a sudden you can't think of anything else. You go to your sponsor, and you start reading it, and that's humiliating. And for me, I read it, and I was like, and I got done, and he goes, that's it? Oh, God, I should tell you my stories. And the weight lifted. It was amazing. So then the third idea was that I did things to others. These things I did, I cheated, I lied, I stole, I did stuff. And I write down the list, and I go to them, and I say, and this is hard, too. You just make yourself. Because if you make yourself, stuff happens, and the weight gets lifted. Now, all of a sudden, I have a lighter life. Now, I've gone to each of these people, and I get through the list, and then that's it. The rest of the steps are about staying sober, up to date, continuing to write. Now, so what am I looking for? I'm looking for happiness. And I don't even know what happiness is. Is it those moments of peak excitement during orgasm? Probably not. Is it peace of mind? Well, peace of mind isn't anything. It's kind of like, it's kind of like soft. And, happiness is an active state. So happiness can only come out of action. And the action that I take that allows me to change my life, I take on dreams, I take on things that I want to do, and I believe that I can do them, and I try, and I show up, and little by little, things happen. The 11th step is about prayer and meditation. Now, it says the 11th step is prayer and meditation. People don't generally meditate because most people think meditating is sitting and trying to quiet my mind. You can't quiet your mind. It's like a machine. It's like talking, twitch. So I'll explain to you my understanding about meditation, and I've been doing it for a lot of years, so I think it works. And what it is focusing on one thing. Just like concentration, to learn math or a new language, you have to focus on one thing. Meditation is focusing on one thing, and that one thing is spiritual. And you sit and you close your eyes and you watch your breath go in and out, and in and out. And you might add a spiritually charged word to that. It could be just God. God, God. There's lots of ways to meditate and lots of mantras. They're called mantras, spiritually charged words. But that's all you do. So if you were to go home tonight or tomorrow morning and sat down and do that, here's what will happen. You'll go, and your mind is going to go, this isn't working for me. This isn't working for me. You know, this might work for him, but this isn't working for me. This is not the kind of thing I want to do, because I've got a lot of things I've got to do, and it's like, I got to itch, and besides, I got to change clothes before I leave, and I've got these things at the doctor, and I've got these other, and you realize there's the mind, chatter, 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 and you go, breath in, breath out. And if you persist, little by little, your heart slows down. Little by little, your body slows down. You get quiet, and you experience pure awareness, that part of you that I am, that witnesses all of this, that isn't the body, that isn't born, lives, and dies, that when you die and your body weighs lighter than it did when you were alive, that whatever that is. And you get to experience it. So you can talk about religion, you can study religion, you can pray in words, but the only way to experience God or any part of it is to quiet the mind, focus, and let it happen. And it's cumulative. So if I do it every single day, it gets better. It's experiential. And little by little, you begin to go, I need to do this. This is great. And the 12th step is about doing things for others, because no matter what your circumstances in life, you know, my mind is always looking for what's wrong. Always looking. It's going, things are going well now. Yeah, but how long is that going to last? Yeah. Let's look at the past. Let's make a list. So when you're doing things for others, you can't be obsessed with yourself. And no matter where you look, no matter what your conditions, there's always someone worse off than you. All you have to do is be present and be with them. And it changes. My life has really been extraordinary. I got sober. At the end of the first year, a guy brought a girl to my office who was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. And we've been together ever since. And she didn't drink or smoke or use drugs or curse. She was like, drink, ew. It's like floor cleaner. I'm not going to do that, ew. So we got married, and we had a daughter, and then we had another daughter. At the end of 5 years, I went down to San Diego and went to Mission Bay. My roommate, who was still sober, said, I got this surprise for you. It's a gondola. So I go down to the Mission Bay. There's a gondola. And we get in there, and it's Amber and Beverly, and we sail out into the bay, and there's soft drinks and fruit and cheese, and they're playing Italian operas. It's magic for an hour and a half. And then the sun is setting, and the beams of light through the edge of the horizon, and the seagulls soaring. And Beverly's here. Amber was asleep under my arm, and Julio Iglesias came on. Always hated Julio Iglesias. And this time, my tears are rolling down my eyes, and I saw myself convulsing on the bathroom floor, and I thought, I almost missed this. Whoa, man. It was 21 years ago. 21 years ago. There have been dozens of moments like that. I have another daughter, and she's right there. And they've never seen me drunk or high or out of my mind. They've seen me in this program and taken cakes every year for 26 years. And I am blessed. I have been very successful. I've been very unsuccessful. I've had great failures, and I kept going. And I suggest that if you're new here, you just keep showing up. I believe in pronoia. It's a belief that the entire universe is conspiring to shower you with blessings every moment. I don't believe there's an alternative. There is not an option to being optimistic. The moment you feel that first negative thought come in, you've got to shift and move and take action and not let it add and make lists. If you have been around a long time and you're going through a difficult time right now, whatever you do, don't give up. If you don't give up, you never know how good life might get. Thanks.